And online people, hope my voice is audible.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the morning class, we discussed about what all are different types of arguments. And after that, we discussed about how to do the exception handling. Okay. So now we'll start discussing some new topic, which is nothing but. So in Python side, we are having some kind of functions called as anonymous functions. It's very simple actually. If we are creating a function without any name, such kind of functions we can call it as anonymous functions. So whenever we are going to create any functions without having the name, such kind of functions we can able to call it as a anonymous functions. And so in the Python we are having anonymous functions. So if you are going to create a functions without having any kind of name, such kind of functions we can able to call it as a anonymous functions. And coming to Python side, we are having a keyword called as Lambda, or we can able to call it as a Lambda functions. And here we can able to call Lambda functions are nothing but, or we can able to say Lambda functions are kind of anonymous functions. So I will with the examples. With the examples, you can able to get the clear picture. But in the Python side, we are having the concept called as anonymous functions. So when we can able to call it as anonymous function, if we are creating a function without having any name, such kind of functions we can able to call it as nothing but anonymous functions. And in the Python, we are having the Lambda functions. So Lambda is nothing but it's a kind of the one of the anonymous function. So with the help of the Lambda, what we can do here is by using Lambda, we can able to simplify the code. So whatever the previous examples we discussed, so we are writing the 4-5 lines of the code or 7-8 lines of the code. Instead of writing those many lines of the code, what we can do here is with the help of the Lambda, simply we can able to simplify the code. And I will give an example. With that we can get some idea. Just we'll go to here. Actually, if you want to perform the addition operation as we discussed already, so we have to write the function like this, and we need to give c equal to a plus b. Then we need to give return c. So this is the way we have to write 3 to 4 lines of the code. But by using the Lambda, what we can do here is within the single line, we can able to achieve this whole requirement. We'll see that how we can able to do that operation. Just we have to give Lambda x colon x s plus y. So see here, this is the only one line of the code you can able to write for the purpose of achieving our requirement as part of using our Lambda functions. And so whenever you are going with the Lambda, so what we can do here, we can able to simplify the code with the very simple operations, not only for addition and so I will give some more examples also. By using those examples, instead of writing the multiple lines of the code within the single line, we can able to achieve our requirements by writing the code like this. Just we'll see one example. See this one. So in this example, if you observe, what we are doing, we are using the Lambda function. As part of using the Lambda function, we are given the two variables called as x comma y. On top of these two variables, I want to perform the addition operation. So we are giving the operation called as x plus y. As part of using the Lambda function, first we are going to provide the variables, and by depending on your requirement, whatever the variables you want to use, we need to pass those variables. After that, we are given the colon. Then we are specifying the expression, what operation you want to perform on top of this variable. That expression we are giving here. This is the syntax we need to follow. Lambda, then we need to specify the variables. After that, we need to give the colon. Then we need to specify what operation you want to perform as per your requirement. Now here my requirement is I want to perform the addition operation. So for that, I am given the two variables. After that, simply we are given the addition operation. So like this, in the single line, we can able to achieve our addition requirement. Actually, if you want, what we can do here, same operation we can able to perform by using this function also. But instead of writing this much of function, within the single line, we can able to achieve the requirement. Now after writing this, what we have to do here is simply give it as f of, for example, 10, 20. And if you want to print the values, we are giving print f of 10, 20. So what's happening? Simply we can able to get the output. Here, try to understand. In the Python, we are having this kind of feature. Instead of writing the multiple lines of the code, with the single line statements also we can able to achieve the requirement. But as part of this operation, what I'm doing here, instead of writing the separate function, we are using the Lambda function. With the help of the Lambda function, we can able to simplify the code wherever there is such kind of requirements. And in the same way, for example, I am giving a number. For that number, I want to get the square value. So what we can do here, just we can give simply like this. Lambda x colon. So whenever you want to get the square value, we have to give it as a x star x and d. So for this also, if you want, we can go for the definition. We can able to write the function. We can able to write the 3-4 lines of the code. But instead of that, what we can do here, simply with the help of the Lambda function, within the single line, we can able to achieve the requirement. After writing the function, simply give it as print of f of 5. Now see, first one, it is performing the sum operation. This one, it is performing the square operation. With that, we can able to get the output. At the same time, for example, what we can do here is, on top of Lambda, we can able to apply filters. By depending on the requirement, on top of the Lambda, what we can do here, we can able to apply the filters. And on top of Lambda, we can perform mapping operations also. Just I will give one example again here. So try to give the answer for this. From list, read all elements, and for each element, add 5 and populate new list. So this is the requirement, Andy. So my requirement is, from the list, I want to read all the elements. And after reading all the elements, for each and every element, I want to add the 5 value. With that, I want to populate the new list. Now you try to give the answer. For the purpose of achieving this requirement, what is the code we can able to write? For example, I'm having the list like this. List is equal to, for example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is the list I'm having. Now my requirement is, on top of this list, I want to populate list 1. In this list 1, for each and every element, I want to get 50, 25, 35, 45, 55. So this is the way I want to get the output. I want to write the program for this operation. Now you try to give the answer. How we can able to write the program to achieve this requirement? Forgot about the Lambda, forgot about all the other things, and whatever we discussed earlier. So with that, how we can able to achieve this requirement here?
List,
we
need to define empty variable. For loop, we need to for I in list.
So what we need to do here, we need to perform the iterative operation on top of your each and every element. Whenever you want to perform the iterative operation, obviously we can able to go for the for loop. After that, what we have to do here, we need to give, for example, I'm giving x equal to, I'm giving I plus 5. Why we are giving the I plus 5 only? For every element, I want to add the value called as a 5. For that reason, we are giving the I plus 5. After that, whatever the result we are getting here, this result I want to add to the other list. But do we have any other list here? First, what we need to do? We need to define the empty list. Try to give the answer. How to define the empty list?
LST equal to square bracket.
Square bracket.
Set up.
No set of.
X of. Yes.
Only square brackets, sir.
So we'll do one thing here.
Set up.
Set of
square bracket of x.
What's the correct answer? How to give the empty list?
Square bracket, sir. Square bracket.
Okay, we'll do one thing just to remove this confusion. We'll give set. That would be better on it. So whenever you want to give the set, so here we have to give the square brackets, so curly braces. And here,
for this set, we need to.
Okay. Now, how we can able to add the values here? Just we can give it as list of 1 dot add of x. So this is the way simply we can able to add the value. Now on top of that, we can able to perform our operations. Now just we'll try to run this one. We'll see what will happen. So this is the way simply you are going to get the output. So we are performing the addition operation 10 plus 5, 15 and 20 plus 5, 25, then 35 and 45 and 55. But tell me here, as part of this operation, what's happening here? Why we are getting the data randomly?
Because of set is unknown.
Whenever we are using the set
Set is
operator,
not
so what will
in
happen
order.
here? It will give the data in the random order. For that reason, you are getting all the values in the random order. Now, this is the way actually, if you want to achieve this requirement, we are doing these many number of steps. And now, instead of performing these many number of operations, what we can do here is within the single line, we can achieve this requirement. Within the single line, we can able to achieve this requirement. So how we can able to achieve this requirement within the single line? Here simply we can able to use the function called as a lambda function. With the help of the lambda function, we can able to perform this operation within the single line. But if you want to define the lambda function here, what we need to do first? First we need to give lambda x. I need to specify x plus 5. So here what is the meaning of x? Each and every element I want to take here. For each and every element, I want to perform the addition operation with the plus 5 only. For that reason, we are given the lambda. After that, we are given the variable. On top of this variable, I want to add the 5 value. For that reason, we are giving lambda x plus 5. But you tell me, we need to perform this operation for the individual element, or we need to perform this operation for all the values of the list? We need to perform this operation for all the values of the list. And for that reason, here what we'll do is we are going to apply the list. On top of the list, I want to perform all these operations. Now, indirectly, whatever the lambda function you are writing, this lambda function we need to apply for each and every element, or we can able to say this lambda function we need to map to each and every element in the list. And whatever the lambda function you are writing, this lambda function we need to execute on each and every element, or we can able to say this lambda function we need to map to our each and every element. Whenever you want to perform the lambda operation on top of the multiple elements, then what we'll do here is we are going to combine lambda with map. So we are having a keyword called as a map keyword. What this map keyword will do here is we are applying the lambda function. This lambda function is going to applicable for all the elements of the list. For the purpose of doing that operation, here we are going to use the keyword called as a map keyword. What map keyword will do here? It is going to apply this lambda function, or it is mapping this lambda function for each and every value on top of your list. With that, it is going to give the output on top of your output screen. Indirectly, as part of using this lambda function, within the single line of the code, we can able to achieve the requirement. So if you want to see the code for that, just 1 second, I will comment this. Yep. So here. So here we are giving this is the one and so we are giving the list. On top of the list, we are applying the map and we are giving the lambda function. First, to try to understand one by one. First step, we are given the lambda function. Whenever you are given the lambda function, how to give the lambda function? First, we need to specify the variable colon. After that, we have to specify the expression. As part of this requirement, for each and every variable, I want to add the 10. For that reason, I am giving the variable name as a x. On top of this x, I want to add the 10. So we are giving lambda x colon s plus 10. But what is the requirement here? Whatever the lambda function you are writing, you want to run this lambda function on top of your each and every element which are present in the list. And for that reason, we are applying the map function. As we discussed, what map function will do here? Map function will map this lambda function on top of the each and every element which are present in the list. For that reason, for the purpose of doing this map operation, here we are using the function called as a map function. Now, once we are going to apply the map function, what will happen? This lambda function will applicable for first one, second one, third one. Here we are performing the x plus 10 and which is nothing but we are getting 21, then 23, 28, 32, 31 and 11. But after getting all these values, I want to create the one more list. For that reason, whatever the values we are getting, to create the list on top of those values, we are applying the list function. If you remember earlier we discussed, Randy, what is the meaning of typecasting? What is the meaning of typecasting? If you want, we can able to convert integer to
one data type
or
to
we can
another
able to
data
say
type.
we can able to convert one data type to other data type by depending on the requirement. Whenever you want, we can able to convert one data type to other data type. Only that kind of operation we can able to call it as a typecasting. Now, for example, I am having a equal to 15.5. Now I am giving float of a. Now what would be the output? Sorry, I will give int of a. It's my mistake. I am giving int of a. Now what will happen? This float value will populating it as a integer value. We are getting output as a 15. Now in the same way, with the help of this map function, you are getting some values only. But on top of those values, I want to create the list. For that reason, here we are using the function called as a list function. With that, what will happen? It can able to create the list automatically. Try to understand each and every point here. We'll go one by one again. First one, we need to define the lambda function. Whenever we are going to define the lambda function, what we need to do here? We need to give the variable name. After that, we need to give the expression. Here I'm giving the variable is nothing but x. On top of this x, I want to perform the addition of 10 and this. So for that reason, I am given the expression is nothing but x plus 10. Now what is the variable here? X. But this x is coming from where? On top of the list, I want to iterate each and every value. That value I want to assign to the x variable. For that reason, we are applying the map function. What map function will do here? It is applying this lambda function on top of your each and every element which is present in the list. With that, it is performing this addition operation on top of your each and every value. With that, you are getting the data. But my requirement is after getting the data, I want to add all those elements into the one more list only. For that reason, we are using the list function. With this list function, it will take all the values, whatever we are getting with the help of the map function. With that, it will create the one more list. With that, you can able to get the output. Just we'll see the output here. So what's happening? Simply we are getting the output as a 21, 23, 28, 32, 31 and 11. That is the way simply we are going to get the data. Now if you want to perform the same operation, if you want, what we can do here, we can able to write the lines of the code like this also. But comparatively observe here, compared to this one and this one, which is the simplest one? Here in the single line, we can able to achieve the code. If you remember, in the first day of the Python class, we discussed already. In the Python, we are having the one of the feature. We can able to simplify the code as part of our dev activities. At the same time, reading the code also very easy as part of the Python because of having this lambda function. Instead of writing the multiple lines of the code here, what we can do? Simply we can able to perform all the operations within the single line of the code. With that, what will happen? As part of doing the development activities, we can able to save good amount of time. At the same time, as part of understanding or as part of reading also, it is very easy to understand these lines of the code. Okay. Now in the same way, if you see the second example, in this example, my requirement is on top of each and every element in the list only, I want to perform the square operation. With that, I want to populate the one more list. Now what we need to do? On top of each and every element, I want to perform the square operation. So what we can do? Here, instead of x plus 10, simply what we need to do? Just give it as a x star x. With that, what will happen? Automatically, we can able to perform the square operation. With that, we can able to get the required output. Just see here. So we are getting 11 square, 13 square, 18 square. So with that, we can able to get the output. Again, for this also, we can able to write the multiple lines of the code. Instead of I plus 5, we can able to give it as a I star 5. With that, we can able to achieve the requirement. But again, instead of writing the multiple lines of the code, what we can do here? Simply by applying the lambda function in the combination of map function, we can able to simplify the code like this. With that, within the single line, we can able to achieve the requirement. Generally, if we are going to work in the real-time projects only, most of the times we are going to see the lambda functions and we can able to see the map functions. At the same time, when we are going to discuss about the PySpark also, during that time we are going to use the lambda. At the same time, we are going to use the map. Just for that reason, I am covering that example as part of our Python concepts. This is the basic example which I know only. But in the coming classes, when we are discussing about the PySpark, there we can able to see the proper example, how we are going to utilize the lambda, how we are going to utilize the map as part of writing our code. Okay. But intention of this class is to understand how we are going to use the lambda, how we can able to apply the map in the combination of the lambda. To understand all this information, just I'm taking the basic examples only. With the basic examples, try to understand what is the purpose of lambda and what is the purpose of map in the combination of lambda. Okay. Any questions up here?
X, why we are taking as x, sir, list values?
This is the variable only. So here we are defining the variable. Okay. For this variable, from where we are getting the data? As part of iteration. Whenever we are given the map, what will happen? It is performing the iteration on top of your list. With that, it is taking the value. So for example, here we are given the x star x. Okay. What is the value it will take as part of first iteration? It will take 11. 11 star 11, we are getting value as a 121. That x variable will add to the list. Coming to second element, 13. 13 star 13, it is taking 169. That value storing in the X variable. That X value will be storing on top of your list. Like that, for each and every operation, we are assigning that result to a particular variable. For that reason, we are giving X with colon. Then we are specifying what operation you want to perform. For example, you want to do the addition. So what we have to do? We are giving S comma Y. Then we are giving X plus Y. Indirectly, it is going to perform the addition operation on top of these two variables. Whatever the result we are getting, that result is storing on top of your particular element, whatever the element we are giving as part of the assignment. Okay, any question still? Very simple. Just assume that this is the variable. On top of the variable, whatever the operation you want to perform, that expression we are giving here. With that, we can able to define the lambda function. But in this example, on top of lambda, we are applying the map. Why we are applying the map here? This lambda function I want to execute on each and every element in the list. For that reason, we are applying the map function. On top of that, we are applying the list function also. Why we are applying the list function? Whatever the result we are getting here, on top of this result, I want to create the one more list only. For that reason, we are applying the list function. With that, by using this list as a source, we are populating one more list as per our requirement. Okay.
Is that mandatory to take the variable name and the values same X and XX?
Yeah, because here what is my requirement? I want to perform the square operation. For that reason, on top of this variable, I want to perform the square operation. For that reason, I am given the X star X. And for example, if I'm giving A star B, see here what will happen? It will give the error because we haven't defined the A value, we haven't defined the B value here. For that reason, it is given the error. So we are defining the X variable. On top of this X variable, I want to perform the square operation. For that reason, we are giving it as a X star X. Okay, for example, as I told you already, I am giving X comma Y. Now on top of these two variables, I want to perform the addition operation. So we have to give it as a X plus Y. Now instead of X plus Y, if I am giving the A plus B, what will happen? In this function, you are given the variables as a X comma Y, but you are given the expression as a plus B. But have you defined any expressions here? Have you defined any variable as a comma B? No. For that reason, it will give the error. For example, now instead of giving X comma Y here, I'm giving A comma B. Now see what will happen? That error is going indirectly. Whatever the variables we are defining here, on top of those variables only, you have to define the expression. With that, your lambda will take care of the execution. With that, we can able to get the results. Is it clear?
Now this A comma B is works.
Yeah, it will work on. So what will happen here? It is going to perform the addition operation. Just will check this. I'm giving like this here. Now here I'm giving print of f of 20, 30. Just giving output as a 50. On top of this list, it won't work, but generally, if you are writing it as a separate function, then it will work. Is it clear? Any other questions, offline people? Now tell me what is the lambda based on this whole discussion.
To simplify the code.
Simply we can able to say lambda is nothing but, so here you can able to see the definition only. It is nothing but one of the anonymous function. As part of lambda function, what we are doing here, we can able to pass any number of arguments by depending on your requirement. So here why we are calling it as arguments, and if you see this example, here I am given the two arguments. Here I'm given the only one argument. Like that, by depending on your requirement, you can able to pass any number of arguments. But if you observe here, what is the limitation of lambda? Here we can able to give only one expression, or we can able to give any number of expressions. As part of lambda, at any point of time, we can able to define only one expression. That is the limitation. But what is the advantage here? You can able to simplify the code by using the lambda function. No need to go for the multiple lines of the code. With the single line of the code, automatically we can able to simplify the code. That's the reason, as part of our real-time projects, most of the times only for the purpose of simplifying the code, we are going to use the lambda function. But tell me, is it mandatory to go for the lambda function as part of writing the code?
No.
Can we go like this? For example, if you don't have any knowledge on the lambda, then if you want, we can able to go for writing the code like this also. No one will stop you why you are writing the code like this only. But just I'm trying to explain, in the Python, we are having the lambda function. With the help of the lambda function, we can able to simplify the coding process in our real time. That's the reason just we are discussing only. At the same time, if you are going to put 3+ or 5+ years of experience on data engineering, indirectly you are having 3 to 5 years of experience on Python. If you are putting indirectly 3 to 5 years of experience on Python, better to have some knowledge on the kind of some advanced concepts. And just for that reason, we are discussing about this Lambda function as part of our classes. Don't think that compulsory we need to go for the Lambda function. There is no such kind of rule. If you want, we can able to achieve the same requirement by writing the multiple lines of the code also. But if you want to prove your skill set as part of our real-time project, for example, if you are going to build the code with a single line of the code, what will happen? Your team lead can able to understand you are having in-depth knowledge on top of the Python concepts, and only for proving that we are discussing about these advanced concepts. Otherwise, if you want, what we can do here, we can, instead of using the Lambda, you can able to write the multiple lines of the code also as part of our real-time project. No one will ask the question why you are writing these many number of lines of code, but we need to understand if you are going as an experienced person, you need to have some kind of experience about how to utilize these kind of advanced functions. For that reason, we are discussing these advanced functions as part of our classes. Okay. Still, if you have any questions, please ask me here. Okay. If no questions, just try to give the answer for this one. If you see here, I given the one more example. Here, what we are doing, we are applying the Lambda in the combination of what? Lambda in the combination of filter or Lambda in the combination of map? We are applying the Lambda in the combination of the filter. If you understand the previous example, with that understanding, Lambda in the combination of map already we discussed, Randy. By using this example, you try to give the answer. What will happen with this example? Any guesses? Please go step by step. What is the first one we need to verify? List or filter or Lambda we need to verify? First, we need to verify the Lambda. Okay, that is the inner functionality. First, we need to go for what Lambda is doing. On top of that, what filter is doing. On top of that, what list is doing. That is the way you need to understand the lines of the code. And now, first one in the Lambda, what I'm giving? I am giving a expression, but what is the expression I'm giving? Addition or multiplication or condition? I am giving the condition. What is the condition I'm giving here? X variable, and I need to check the condition called as a X greater than 10. Okay, and I want to perform this Lambda operation on top of what? On top of the list. Indirectly, what will happen? On top of each and every element, it is going to perform this expression. First one, 11 greater than 10. What will happen? It is going to verify it is a true value. Then what will happen? It is going to filter that value only. After that, 13 greater than 10, it is true, it is going to apply the filter. After that, 18 greater than 10, it is applying the filter. 22 greater than 10, it is applying the filter. Indirectly, with the help of the Lambda function, we are checking the condition. After checking the condition, we are filtering the data. Which records we are filtering? For whatever the records this condition is going to satisfy, for those records, we are filtering the data. After filtering the data, on top of those values, I want to create the one more list. And for that reason, we are applying the list function. Now, if I'm going to run this code, any guesses what is the value we are going to get? What will happen? It will create one more list called as a list one. In this list, how many number of elements we are going to get? 5, sir. 5.
11, 3, 5.
You see here, we are getting 11, 30, 18, 22, 21. We are not getting this variable. Why we are not getting? For this record, this condition is not at all satisfying. For that reason, that record is filtered out. Remaining elements are satisfying the condition. For that reason, remaining elements are populating on top of your one more list. And now, if you want, what we can do here? Same operation we can able to perform with the help of the first statement. Within the first statement, what we need to do? First, we need to give for I in list. After that, what we have to do?
X equal to.
We need to apply the condition. What is the requirement? If X greater than 10, then only I want to fetch the record. Otherwise, I don't want to fetch that record. So what we have to do? Indirectly, we need to apply the if-else logic. So how to apply the if-else logic? If we need to give X greater than 10. Then we need to specify what operation you want to perform. Then we need to specify else statement. In the else statement, we need to specify what operation we need to perform. So like this, in the combination of first statement, by applying the if and else statement, we can able to achieve the same requirement. But instead of writing these many number of lines of the code, what we can do here, in the single line of the code, in the combination of Lambda and filter, we can able to achieve the same requirement. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. And if you want, we can able to perform the same operation by using for loop, at the same time by using the if else statement. But instead of writing these many number of lines, what we are doing here, with the help of the Lambda, you can able to simplify the lines of the code. With that, easily we can able to achieve the requirement. But tell me, performance wise, which one is going to execute fast? Lambda or this for loop and if else statement?
Lambda.
There is no
Lambda.
performance wise, there is no difference. Both are going to take the same amount of time because here it need to repeat all the elements in the list. Here also what need to happen? It need to repeat all the elements in the list. After that, here it need to verify for every element, it need to verify the condition. Here also what's happening? Here also for every element, it need to verify the condition. After that, it is creating the list. Here also we need to create the list indirectly. Here and here, it is going to perform the same kind of operation. For that reason, performance wise, there is no difference. This one and this one, both are going to give the same performance. But what is the advantage here if you're going with the Lambda? Simply, we are reducing the number of lines of the code. At the same time, we are saving the time as part of writing the code in our real-time perspective. At the same time, understandability wise, instead of writing the multiple lines, if you are going to have the single line, what will happen? It is very, very easy to understand for other people. All these are the advantages we are having because of using the Lambda. Don't say that because of using the Lambda, we are getting the more performance. Performance wise, there is no difference. If you are using the Lambda function or if you are writing the multiple lines of the code, both the things are going to give the similar kind of performance. Only thing is nothing but readability wise or writability wise, we are having good efficiency as part of using our Lambda function. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to utilize the Lambda function as part of writing our code. Any other questions up to here? Please ask me. If no questions, now we'll try to understand one more concept here. Now tell me, if you are going to work as a data engineer in the real time, what we are doing here? We are going to work on what? Data. So continuously we are going to work on the data only. If you remember from last 40-45 days onwards or last 20-15 days onwards for batch 20 people, every day what we are discussing? We are discussing about data. So obviously we are going to work on the data only as part of our real-time project. Now, if we are going to work as a data engineer in the real-time project, in which format we are going to get the data first at the beginning? We are going to get the data in the files format, or we can able to call it as a raw data, which is nothing but first we are going to get all the data in the files format. After that, we are converting all this files format of data into our tabular format. With that, we are going to perform all our remaining operations. But at the beginning, what's happening here? We are getting the data in the files format. That might be the CSV file, that might be the JSON file, or that might be the XML file, any kind of files. For that reason, as part of learning Python also, here we need to understand how to perform file, read, write, create, and delete operations by using Python. Because in the real time, obviously you are going to work on the files only. When you are going to work on the files, obviously we need to understand how we can able to perform the read operations on top of the file, write operation by using on top of the file, create operation and delete operation. All these operations, how we are performing on top of your file, we need to understand with the help of the Python. Because as a data engineer in the real time, we are going to write the Python programming. As part of writing Python programming, minimum we should have knowledge about how we can able to perform read operations, write operations, create operations, and delete operations with the help of the Python. For that reason, now we are going to discuss about file operations by using Python. It's very simple. As part of Python, we are having a function called as a open function. By using this function, we can able to read the data from the file. Here just we need to provide path and mode. Only these two are the variables we need to provide. So what is the function we are going to use? We are using the function called as a open function. In this open function, we need to specify path of the file. So in which path you are having the file, that is the path we are going to provide. After that, we need to specify the mode. So here I will tell you, we are having three types of the modes. First one, we can able to call it as a OR. Second one, we can able to call it as a OR plus. Third one, we can able to call it as a. So like this, we are having the three types of the modes, which is nothing but whenever we are going to use the open function, in this open function, what is the value we can able to give in the mode? Either you have to give it as a or we need to give it as a or plus, or we need to give it as a. We need to give any one of the value on top of your mode. What about the path? in whatever the path you are having your CSV file or other file, that is the path we need to provide here. And the first argument, we need to give the path. Second argument, we need to specify the mode. Now we need to understand what is the purpose of R plus and A. By seeing the letter, any guesses? What is the meaning of R?
Read.
On
R
top
plus.
of the file, if you want to perform only read operations. On top of the file, if you want to perform only the read operation, I want to open the file, I want to perform the read operation, then what we can do here, simply we can able to give it as a R, okay? And one more thing we need to understand, with this mode, if file is not available, it will give error. So whenever we are going to specify, mode is nothing but R and D. For example, here, I'm giving open, I'm giving my file name is, for example, emp.csv file. After that, I'm giving R. So what I'm doing here, I'm giving the file name and I'm giving the mode as a R. For example, here I'm giving D drive. So this is the path I given. Now in this path, for example, if this file is not available, then what will happen here? This will give the error because of using the R, because of giving the mode as a R. What will happen here? It is given the error. This error we can able to call it as a IO error. So whenever a file is not available, what will happen? We are going to get the error called as a IO error. So whenever we are given the mode as a R, what will happen? If file is not available, then automatically what will happen here? We are getting the output called as a IO error. This is for mode R. In the same way, next one is R plus. On top of the file, if you want to perform read and write operations. On top of the file, you want to read the data. At the same time, on top of that file, you want to append the data or you want to add the data. And whenever we are having such kind of requirement, then what we can do here, simply we can able to go for the mode called as a R plus. With the help of the R plus, we can able to add the records. We can able to read the data on top of the file. At the same time, we can able to write the data also on top of your file. Again, here also what will happen is, with this mode, if file is not available, again what will happen? It will give the error. For example, here I'm giving R plus. If you are given the R plus, what's the advantage compared to the R? Here you can able to read the data. At the same time, on top of that file, if you want, we can able to write the data also by depending on our requirement. But here what's happening? If this path is not available, then automatically what will happen? Here also we are getting the error called as a IO error. In the same way, we are having the one more mode called as a and D. Here what will happen is, it will append the data onto your file. What is the meaning of appending indirectly?
Adding the records.
But
Adding.
writing the data, or we can able to call it as a append the data. And whenever we are given the variable called as a, what will happen here? It is going to perform the appending operation on top of your file. For example, I am having the file 1.csv. In this file, I am having some values like this. Hi, GCS, Airflow, GCP. So like this, we are having some values already in this file. And now we are given the variable called as a, and on top of that, I am adding the data. If you are going to add the data, what will happen? It is going to append the data. For example, I'm adding AWS and Azure. If I'm trying to add these values, what will happen here? Whatever the data we are having on top of this data, it is going to append these values. But tell me here, these values will append at the end or these values will append at the beginning? At any point of time, these values will be append at the end of the file. And already we are having the 4 lines in this file. On top of these 4 lines, it is adding the 2 more lines by depending on our requirement. Whenever we are given the value called as a in the mode, what will happen? It is going to append the data on top of your file. But here one important thing we need to understand. In this mode, if file is not available, it will create the file automatically. This is the one important thing we need to understand. And so as part of this append mode, what is going to happen? If file is not available, which is nothing but in this path, file is not available, then what will happen? It is going to create a new file. In that file, it is going to add all the values, whatever we are passing. And that is the main difference we need to understand on top of the mode called as a. Now, for example, if file is already available, what will happen? If file is already available, your data is appending. If file is not there, what will happen? It will create the file automatically. With that, it is going to perform the appending operation on top of your file. This is, sorry. So this is the way we need to understand all these different modes and R for read only, R plus for the purpose of doing the read and write operation, A for the purpose of doing our append operation. Now out of all these three modes and in which mode we are going to get the error if file is not available?
First
R
two.
and
R
R
plus.
plus. If
R
file
plus.
is not available, we are going to get the error. But coming to A mode, what's happening? If file is not available,
File
it
is
is going to
available.
perform the append
Create
operation
the new
automatically. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to perform the read and write operations on top of your file. Okay. Any questions up to here? Please ask me. Any questions up to here? No questions? Okay. If no questions, see here. We discussed about open. Now, after opening the file, what's the next operation we need to perform? Once we are going to just 1 second.
We
Online
need to
people, just 1 minute. Okay. So here, after opening the file, what's the next step we need to perform here? We need to perform the read operation. Right? So for the purpose of doing read operation, here we are having the different methods only. So first method we can able to call it as a simply read. After that, we are having read lines. Next one we are having read lines. So like this, we are having the three different functions for the purpose of doing the read operation. First one is read. After that, we are having the read line. After that, we are having the read lines and so read is nothing but it will read data in bytes format, and read line is nothing but it will read data for only one line. In the file, you are having the 10 lines or 20 lines only. But out of 20 lines, what will happen if you are given the read line? It is going to read data for only one line. Okay. But if your requirement is, if you want to read data for all the lines, then we need to use read lines. It will read data for all the lines in the file. So this is the way we need to understand what all are the different functions we are having within the read and after opening the file, definitely we have to perform the read operation. If you want to perform the read operation, we are having the three different methods. One we can able to call it as a read. Next one is read line. Next one is the read lines and read line is nothing but it is reading the only single line on top of your file. Read lines is nothing but it is going to read the multiple lines, all the lines on top of your file. This is the way we need to understand what operations we can able to perform on top of the read. In the same way, for the purpose of doing write operation also, we are having the two methods. One is write. Second one we can able to call it as a write lines. Any guesses what is the difference between both? This one will write only one line. This one will write only one line. But coming to write lines, what will happen here is this one will write multiple lines on top of your file. So just I'm trying to explain what are the different methods we are having. I will show you all these things practically, but before going to the practical, just try to understand what operations we can able to perform and how we can able to perform those operations. And first one, we need to open the file. For the purpose of opening the file, we are having the method called as a open method. By using this method, we can able to open the file. Okay. Actually here what we'll do is we are going to give it as a F1 is equal to open this one. So this is the way we are going to give the our first line of the code. So with this, what will happen is with this, it will create a file object called as F1. So what I'm doing here, just I'm giving the variable called as a F1. On top of this F1, we are giving the open function. By using the open function, you are going to open the file. We are discussing theoretically it is going to open the file, but internally what will happen? It is creating the file object called as nothing but F1 as a file object. Now, if you want to perform the read operation, what we need to do? What we have to do? Very simple, and just we have to give it as a file object dot read. Now, what is the file object here? F1 is the file object. Because of running this line of the code, it is opening the file. At the same time, it is creating one object called as a file object called as a F1. Now, on top of this F1, we are going to perform the read operation, or we are going to perform read line, or we are going to perform read lines. Okay, so we have to give it as a file object dot read, or we need to give file object dot read line, or we need to give file object dot read lines. And in the same way, as part of writing also, we have to do the same thing. F1 dot write, or we need to give it as a F1 dot write lines. Indirectly, first step is nothing but we need to create a file object. After creation of the file object, then we are going to specify the required methods by depending on our requirement. You want to read the data or you want to write the data. All those operations we are going to specify on top of your file object. This is the way we need to understand how to open the file, how to read the data, and how to write the data for the purpose of doing the operations on top of your files. Okay. Any questions up to here? Please ask me again. Any confusions? It's very simple, and open the file, read the data, write the data. Just think in that way. With that, you can able to remember. For opening, we are using the open function. For the purpose of reading, we are having the multiple options. In the same way, for the purpose of writing also, we are having the multiple options. With that, you can able to easily understand what we are discussing as part of these 5 operations. Okay. Now we'll see it in the practical way. Okay. Just for your convenience, Andy. So once I'm going to share these lines of the code. Here you can able to see what is the meaning of R plus and A plus. After that, you can able to see what is the purpose of read lines, read line, and what is the purpose of write lines, and all these things. And we'll discuss about these 2 things after some time. But so far, whatever we discussed, you can able to see everything in the script. Again, after completion of the class, I will send the script. In the same script, you can able to see the notes. At the same time, you can able to see the examples also. With that, you can able to perform the practice in the proper way. Okay. Now, if you see the first example, now tell me what we are doing. You yourself try to understand what we are doing. In the first line, what I'm doing? I am creating a file object called as a file1. By using this file object, what operation I'm going to perform? I am opening a file. And for this file, what is the path I given? D drive, Qt, Python. In this path, I'm having a file called as a read.txt file. I will show you that file first. See here, in this file, we are having some data like this. Otherwise, I will remove this one. Okay, we are having, how are you? Welcome to Python read, welcome to Python write, and we are having the GCP, and I will remove these values also. So we are having only 3 lines of only 3 lines we are having in the read.txt file. Now I am reading all those data by using the function called as a open function. Now with the help of the open, what will happen? Just it is going to open the file. Okay. After opening the file, what is my requirement? I want to read the data, but here my requirement is I want to read all the lines of the file and so what we need to do? Which function we have to use? We need to use the function called as a read lines. Whenever you want to read all the lines, we have to use the function called as a read lines. Now, after reading the lines, what's the next step? I want to display the data. For that reason, we are given the print function. Now, just I will run this one. Now, see what's happening. We are getting output as a how are you? Welcome to Python read and welcome to Python write. But now why it is showing like this? Only because we are having the multiple lines. For the purpose of differentiating all the lines, it is showing the slash n. Now tell me, whenever we are getting the output in the square bracket, what it means indirectly? It's a kind of a list. Internally, what's happening is it is reading all the lines. For all the lines, what's happening internally, it is creating a kind of a list. But forget about that. Here, our intention is we need to understand how it is performing the reading operation. With the help of the read lines, what's happening? It is giving all the lines of the data on top of your output. Okay. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to read only the first 10. Then what we can do? Just comment this. I'm giving the only read line. With this, if you observe, what's happening? We are getting only first line, which is nothing but we are getting output as a how are you? Now, in the same way, I'm giving read. Now, in any cases, what will happen if I'm given the read? If I'm given the read, what will happen? It will read the data in the bytes format, but it will read the complete file or it will read the only partial file. it will read the complete file. If you observe here, what's happening? We are getting, how are you? Welcome to Python read and welcome to Python write. And now you tell me, what is the difference between this read and read lines? In the read, we are getting all the values. At the same time, in the read lines also, we are getting all the complete file data. Then what is the difference here? Coming to read, what's happening is, it is reading all the data in the bytes format. In the output also, we are getting the data in the bytes format. But coming to here, what's happening? As part of given the read lines and it is given the output in the list format. That is the only difference here. By using the read or by using the read lines, you can able to get all the data in the file. But as part of read, what's happening? You are getting all the data in the bytes format. But coming to read line, what's happening here? Read lines, it is giving all the values in the list format. That is the only difference between our read and read lines. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to perform the read operation on top of your files. Okay, any questions on top of these read operations, please ask me here.
Yeah, in the open function, before starting the path, we are seeing one R, right, sir?
Yeah, because why we are giving this is actually it's a kind of a special character. To handle the special character in the double quotes, we are giving it as a R. If I'm not giving the R, it will give some kind of error. For that reason, just to handle this slash symbol, we are giving it as a R later.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? If no questions, please see the second example. In this second example, what I'm doing here, I want to perform the write operations. Andy. Now, if you want to perform the write operations on top of the file, first we need to define what data you want to add. For that reason, here what I'm doing, I am creating a list. In this list, what's the values I'm giving? GCP, Airflow, GCS. These three lines I want to add. But how we can able to say these three are the three different lines, Andy? How I can able to say these three are the three different lines?
With
To
escape.
understand that, I am giving it as a slash n and d. If I'm giving the slash n, what it means indirectly, after adding the GCP, I want to go to nest line. In the nest line, what I want to add? Airflow. Again, for Airflow also, I'm giving the slash n. Slash n is nothing but it's a kind of a new line character. Whenever we are giving the slash n, again it will go to the nest line. With that, we are giving the GCS. After that, again we are giving the new line character. With that, what will happen? All these three values will be adding into the individual lines, Sandy. But tell me here, once I'm going to write the data on top of this file. Now it will add the data from here or it will add the data from here. From the third line, it will add the data, or from the fourth line, it will add the data.
From the fourth line.
Fourth line.
We'll see that.
From the third line.
We'll see. Just I'm going to run this. Just observe. I don't want to confuse you. I will give read. Here I will give. Now tell me here which operator we need to give, which mode we need to give. I want to perform the write operation. I want to perform the write operation. What we need to do?
R plus.
We need to give it as a If you are given the R plus, what will happen? It is trying to write the data from the first line. But what is our requirement? On top of the existing file, at the end, I want to write the data. For that reason, what I'm doing here, I'm giving the value called as a. What is the meaning of A and A? A for appending. On top of the existing file, it is going to perform the appending operation. Just I'm trying to run this one. So what's happening? It is adding the data. From this inverse one came. 1 second. If you see here, it is adding the data. So from where it is adding the data, it is adding the data from the fourth line onwards, because already it is taken the new line character automatically. So with that, what's happening here? It is adding all the lines on top of your data only. So whenever you want to append the data like this, what we can do here, simply we can able to use the function called, use the mode called as a append mode. With the help of the append mode, we can able to perform this operation. At the same time, if you observe here, we applied the right or we applied the right lines. We applied the right. We applied the right lines, and what's the reason? Here I want to add the multiple lines by depending on the requirement. For that reason, we are applying the concept called as a right lines. Okay. Now, just I will go back to the previous requirement. Now see, for example, what I'm doing is I am giving the read 5. Now tell me what will happen. I am giving the read5.txt in the same path. But if you observe this path, in this path, we don't have any file called as the read5.d. Now, if I'm going to run this, what will happen?
It will throw
It
the
will throw
error.
the error. So we'll see that. What's happening? Simply we are getting the error, which is saying that file not found error. Now you tell me, this is the syntax error or this is the exception?
Exception.
This is the
Exception.
exception. This is the one more kind of exception. And earlier we discussed about some different error side, zero division error and type error. In the same way, this is the one more type of the error which we can able to call it as a file not found error. Now what I'm doing here is, in this example, I am given the same file. Now tell me what will happen. In this example also, I'm given the same read5 in the same open function. I'm given the read5.txt. But do we have the read5.txt file? No. But if you
No,
observe
sir.
here, what is the mode I'm giving?
A.
If I'm given the
Append.
mode A, what will happen? It will
It will
create the
create
file
the
automatically. On top of that file, it is going to perform the addition operation, append operation. See here, exit code is 0 is nothing but your code is run properly. Now, if it is coming as a 1, what it means indirectly? There is some issue in the execution only, but here we got the output as a code 0, which is nothing but your code ran perfectly. Just to go back to your path. Now see the path, we can able to see read5. This is the new file created. If you open the file, here we can able to see GCP, Airflow and GCS. That is the data we added as part of our requirement. That is the one earlier also we discussed, Randy. Whenever we are given the mode as a, if that file is not available, what will happen here? It is going to create the file. After that, it is going to perform the append operation. Now, for example, if I am going to run the same code one more time, what will happen? Any guesses? If I am going to run the same code one more time, what will happen?
It will
It
append.
will override the data, it will append the data.
Append, I think.
You see
Over,
that? I ran the code.
override, I think.
Open this file. See what's happening. Earlier, we already added the 3 values. Again, it is adding the 3 more values only. Like that, whenever you want to append the data, simply what we can do here, we can able to go for the append function. With that, we can able to write the data on top of your file. So far we discussed about how to open the file. At the same time, we discussed about how to read the data. At the same time, we are discussing about how to write the data by depending on our requirement. Now, in the same way, if you want to create a new file by doing write operation, we can use mode as A. Otherwise, we can use W also. So we are having the one more mode called as a W and D. So with the help of this W also, what we can do here, we can able to perform the write operation. Now, if I'm given the A, it is performing the appending operation. But if I'm given the W, what's happening here? It is performing the write operation. But appending and writing both are same or both are different? Indirectly, both are same, but as part of appending, it is performing the appending at the end of the file and D. But as part of writing, what will happen here? It is trying to write the data from the first line onwards. Just we'll try to see that information. Let me comment this. Now see, we ran the code. So here, what is the path I given? I given the new file called as a read3.txt file. In this file, we are adding the values as a GCP, Airflow, and GCS. At the same time, we are given the write function also. If I are given the write function, what will happen? I'm given the write lines. At the same time, I'm given the write function. With the help of the write function, what will happen? It will add the only single line. But with the help of the write lines, what will happen? It will add the multiple lines. So with that, here we can able to see the data like this. The read3. We are having Srinivas, then GCP, Airflow, and GCS. Now, what I will do here is, I will run the same program one more time. Execution is completed. Now we'll see the data here. What's happening? It is appending or it is overwriting the existing data. It is overwriting the existing data, and that is the difference we need to understand. Whenever we are given the W mode, what's happening here? If file is already there, in that file, it is performing the override operation. But if I'm given the A, what's happening here? It is going to perform the appending operation. Indirectly, we can able to say appending and write, both are performing the write operation only. A and W. Both modes will perform write operations only. But with A, what's happening here? It is appending the data, but with the W mode, it is overwriting the data. If file is already there, if data is already there, then what's happening here? It is simply performing the overwriting the data. Now, indirectly, by depending on your requirement, every time you want to load the new data to the file, then we need to go for W. Every time if you want to perform the appending operation on top of the file, then we can able to go for the A mode. And so with that, by depending on the requirement, either we can able to go for append mode or we can able to use the mode called as a write mode. This is the way we can able to understand how we can able to perform the read and write operations on top of your data. Up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me again. Any questions? If no question, just observe only. Here, if you observe, in this one, what I'm doing in this line of the code, I am giving file1 is equal to open. With that, you are opening the file. At the same time, we are creating an object called as a file1 object. But if you see this line here, what I'm doing, I am using the same syntax or I'm using a different syntax here. I am using the different syntax. If you observe, here I am using the keyword called as a with keyword. With the help of the with keyword, we are opening the file. After that, we are creating the object called as a file1. If you want, either we can able to write the code like this. Otherwise, if you want, we can able to write the code like this also. Nandi. Only thing is nothing but in the Python, we are having the two different options. If you want to open the file, we can able to give the syntax is nothing but file1 object is equal to open function. Otherwise, with the help of the with keyword also, we can able to perform the open operation. There is no difference between either this line of the code or this line of the code. Once we are going to open the file, then what we are doing, Andy? Remaining operations are common. If you see here also we are doing the file1.write and file1.write lines. Here also we are doing the file1.write and file1.write lines. And indirectly, just for opening the file, either you can able to follow this kind of syntax or we can able to follow this kind of syntax. Both are going to work in the same way. By depending on your convenience, either you can able to go for this approach or this approach. But if you see here, are we using any different function? Function also same. Only thing is nothing but syntax wise, just a small difference. And here also, if you see, we are creating a file1 object. Here also, we are creating the file1 object. Only thing is nothing but here we are using the equal to operator to open the file and to assign the object. But here we are using the keyword called as a with keyword, except that all the remaining operations are common between this approach or this approach. Whatever the example we discussed above also, same operations we can able to perform with the help of the with keyword. Either you can able to follow this approach or we can able to follow this approach as part of doing our file operations on top of the Python. Okay. Before going further, any questions up to here again, please ask me.
So with the write operator, we get we write one line, right? Then write lines also we get one only in this example we thought.
This one?
This one.
Tell me what's the question now in this one?
By this line write Srinivas and write lines data. What's the difference?
Coming to write, it is going to add the only single line, but coming to write lines, we can able to add the multiple lines. If you see here, I given the data. So what I did here first, I created the list. In the list, I am giving all the required values I want to add. For all the each and every element, I am giving the /n. So with this, what's happening here? It is writing the data for this list. As per the list, I want to add the total 3 elements. For every element, I am giving the new line character. So with that, what's happening here? It is adding the multiple lines by using the write lines only. But if I'm giving the write, what's happening here? It is writing the data for only single string value, or it is writing the data for only single line. That's the difference between our write and write lines.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. If no question, just we'll see the next example. Now my requirement is I want to delete the file. So for the purpose of doing this operation, we are going to use the function called as a remove function. So here we are having the function called as a remove function. With the help of the remove function, simply we can able to remove the file from your path. At the same time, if you want to use remove function, we need to import a module called as OS. Okay, so module is nothing but So we can able to say, so whenever we are going to import the module and so in that module, we can able to see already predefined packages or already we are having the predefined scripts and which is nothing but no need to write the any code from our side. Whatever the existing scripts we are having or whatever the existing Python packages we are having, if you want to use that kind of packages or existing scripts, then what we are doing here, simply we need to import the module. Now, if you want to perform this remove operation, what we have to do here, we need to import the module called as a OS module. With the help of this voice module, we can able to perform the remove operation. Now, whenever you want to import any kind of modules, and here simply we are going to use the keyword called as a import keyword. Just we have to give import OS. So which is nothing but by using this line, what I'm doing here in the Python, I am importing one of the existing module called as a OS module. By using that module, I am going to perform the remove operation on top of my file. For that reason, here we are going to write the code like this, and I'm giving it as a import OS. After that, if you want to remove the file, we have to give simply os.remove, and we need to specify the path of the file. By giving the path of the file, simply we can able to perform the remove operation. Then what is the meaning of this line of the code? Any guesses? Please see the line and tell me the answer. In the name only you can able to see os.path.exist. Here my requirement is if file is available, then only remove the file. Otherwise, I want to get one message. That is the requirement, Andy. So here, by using the if-else statement, in the if statement, what I'm telling here, if path is exist or if file is exist, then I want to perform the remove operation. Otherwise, simply I want to get the output as a file does not exist. Now, in this example, I'm giving the read3. We'll see that. Yeah, we are having the read3 file. We'll run this one. Your education is completed. What is the meaning of education completed? Go back to your previous path. Earlier we are having the read3 here. Now that file was deleted automatically. Now tell me if I'm going to run the same code one more time, what will happen? It will give output as a file does not exist. Just will check it once. We are getting output as a file does not exist because in this path, just now we deleted the file. If I'm going to run the same code one more time, what's happening, Andy? It is going to the else statement. By using the else statement, we are getting output as a simply file does not exist. This is the way. If you want, what we can do here, you can able to remove the files on top of your path. In the same way, if you want, we can able to remove the directory also, Andy. If you want to remove the directory, here we are having the one more function called as a rmdir function. By using this function, simply we can able to remove the directory on top of your path. This is the way we can able to understand what all are the different operations we can able to perform on top of the file. Okay, in this script, just I given the summary at the top, and all these are the operations we can able to perform. First one, open. Once we are going to open, we can able to perform read operations or write operations. At the same time, we need to understand what all are the different modes we are having. R plus and A. It's not A plus, it's A and D. A, and at the same time, we are having one more mode called as a W.
W.
Sir, can we remove a folder and file by using the
if you're given the RMDR, what will happen? So if you're given the RMDR in that folder, whatever the files we are having, it will remove all the files automatically. Okay. Yes, so see here, if you're given the remove, it is removing the only file. But if you want to remove the complete folder, then we can give it as a RMDR. Okay. Now these are all the different modes we are having, and these are all the different methods we are having. And if you want to remove the file, we need to go for remove method. And if you want to remove the directory, we have to go for rmdir method. But if you want to use these two methods, what we have to do? We need to import a separate module called as a OS module, except that all the remaining operations are same only, and here as part of doing the remove operation or as part of the rmdir operation, we need to import one extra module called as a OS module. With that, we can able to perform our required operations on top of our data. This is the way simply we can able to understand what are the different operations we can able to perform on top of the files. Okay. Any questions still if you're having, please ask me.
Sir,
can we retrieve this?
You want me to? What do you want to do? Can you please repeat?
Can we retrieve these files once deleted?
No, we cannot able to retrieve it. So if it is going to delete, so it permanently delete. That's it. Any other questions? Offline people, any questions? Online people, any questions?
But what is the
Can we
difference?
delete multiple files?
one by one.
Can I restore that file, sir?
No, we cannot able to restore. Just think someone also asked the question. We cannot able to restore the files.
Or can we delete multiple files at a time?
Yeah, if you want to do the multiple files, you can able to provide all the files in the list format. Or you can able to give it as a regular expression. For example, if I'm giving the start.txt, what will happen? It will try to remove all the files which are related to the test files. Or if you're having the CSV files, you can give it as a start.csv. With that, it will remove all the multiple CSV files on top of your folder.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Difference between R plus and W mod, sir.
R plus and
plus
W.
also-
So with the help of R plus, what we can do, we can able to perform the both read and write operation. And coming to W, here we can able to perform only write operation. And coming to R plus, what will happen? If file is not there, we are going to get the error. But coming to W, if file is not there, what will happen? It will create the file because you are writing, right? So for that reason, it will create the file. With that, it is going to perform the write operation. But coming to R plus, if file is not there, what will happen? You are going to get the syntax error.
Okay. Thank you.
Not syntax error, sorry. See, which is given the exception. File not found as error expression. Okay. Any other questions up to here? Okay. And why we are discussing all these topics here is on top of this file summary. Actually, if you remember, we discussed about GCS. What's the GCS? It's a Google Cloud
Google
Storage.
Cloud Storage.
In this Google Cloud Storage, what operations we have done earlier, if you remember? We uploaded the files and we uploaded the folders, right? So actually same operations, if you remember, we did all these operations from the console at the same time. We did the same operations from the Cloud SDK. If you remember, at that time I told you only we can able to perform the same operations with the help of the Python also, but at that time we didn't discuss about the Python. That's the reason I didn't cover all those topics at that time only. But now you are having knowledge on the Python. You know about how to run the Python programs in the IDLE and by using the notebook and by using the Pycharm. At the same time, now you are having knowledge about how we can able to perform the operations on top of the files by depending on the requirement. With all this knowledge, now what we can do here? Now we can able to understand how we can able to handle GCS objects with the help of the Python. That topic we'll cover in the tomorrow session only. So what is the intention of discussing about all this Python and everything? Because as a data engineer in the real time, some of the operations we need to perform by using the Python coding. So earlier already we discussed about the GCS. We discussed about how to upload the files and how to upload the folders. At that time we discussed about we can able to perform this operation by using the console or by using the Cloud SDK. Same operations we can able to perform with the help of the Python also. But at that time I didn't discuss about how to perform those operations with the help of the Python because you people are not having knowledge on the Python at that time. But now we are having knowledge on Python. You know about how to perform the files operations on top of the Python. With that knowledge, now we can able to understand how we can able to deal the GCS objects with the help of the Python and that topic will cover as part of our tomorrow's session. Okay. But before winding up the today's session, if any other questions, please ask me. Tomorrow morning, we are going to cover two topics. And what is nothing but pandas. This is actually one of the module in Python. This is one of the topic, and this pandas we are going to use for the purpose of analyzing the data quickly. So if you want to perform any kind of analysis on top of the data quickly, then we can able to use the concept called, we can able to use the module called as a pandas only. And once if you can able to understand the pandas, understanding PySpark is very easy. For that reason, first we'll start with the pandas. After discussing about the pandas, then we'll jump to the PySpark. So first we'll focus on pandas because some of the terminologies, whatever we are using in the pandas only, same terminologies we are going to use on top of our PySpark also. Here in the pandas, we are having concept called as a data frame. In the PySpark also, we are having the concept called as a data frame. So that's why I'm saying that once you can able to understand the pandas, with that knowledge, understanding PySpark will becomes as a very, very easy. At the same time, in the tomorrow session, if time permits, we'll discuss about how we can able to perform GCS related operations by using Python. So these two topics we'll cover in the first session. In the second session, we'll discuss about the other topics. Okay. So before winding up, if any other questions, please ask me. Okay, so same thing, Andy. So after completion of this class, what I will do here is I will share this script file whatever the script file earlier I shared you, in the same way, I will upload this file also into the Infinity. In this file, you can able to see all the examples, whatever we covered on top of the file operation. From your side, what we have to do? If you want to run the first example, please uncomment, run it. Second example, uncomment, run it. Don't do only uncomment and running on it. Try to understand what we are doing on top of each and every line of the code, which we already discussed in the class. As part of doing the practice also, try to understand what is happening in each and every line. At the same time, try to perform some kind of experiments on it. Now tell me, for example, here I given the path like this. Now, if you are going to run the same code, what will happen?
We'll get errors.
Obviously, we'll get the error. Once you are going to see the error, don't think the SAR is giving the error code only. What is the reason for this? Because
You need to
in
create
your
the
path,
File
you
path.
need to maintain this file. Otherwise, in whatever the path you are having the file, please give that path only. Without changing this path, blindly, if you are going to run the code, obviously what will happen? You are going to get the error. By seeing that error, don't assume that SAR is giving the error code. Please try to understand each and every line. What changes you need to perform, try to understand. With that, if you are going to perform the modifications, with that, what will happen? Automatically, you can able to run all this code as part of your practice. Okay, don't blindly uncomment and run it. Please read each and every line. Try to understand in each and every line what we are doing. For your convenience, if you observe, for every line, I given the comments also, Randy. This one to read the byte, this one to read the single line, this one to read the line by line, this one to create the file object. I given detailed explanation for each and every line in the class. At the same time, within the script also, I given the detailed explanation. Try to understand that. Try to understand the concept. With that, you can able to get the proper knowledge on top of our file operations in the Python. Okay. Any other questions?
So this is not related to Python.
1 second. First, we'll complete about the Python. Anyone else having any questions on the Python? Okay. If no questions, you can able to leave for the day and day. So we'll meet you in the tomorrow session. Okay. Yeah. Now, please continue. Someone is asking the question.
Sir, may I know by when you are completing the data flow concept?